For Our City News, I'm Stephanie Allison, and joining me this week is our very own Glenn Fossa.
Great to be here, Stephanie. This exciting episode of Our City News should be better than ever.
The Comic-Con comes to Fitchburg. National Night Out brings community policing and city organization together for a fun event. And Glenn got a chance to stop by FSU to see police mountain biking training in action. All this and lots more.
Right here on Our City News.
And now, the latest news, sports, and weather with Stephanie Allison and the entire Our City News team.
National Night Out saw a lot of activity at the Elm Street Playground as Fitchburg's community policing initiatives, city organizations, and families got together for a night of food and fun. The national effort brings community leaders and police to inner city neighborhoods in an effort to build relationships with the residents for a safer city. Kelly Johnson was there, and she has the story.
I'm Kelly Johnson with Our City News, here today on this beautiful summer day at Lowell Playground on Elm Street here in Fitchburg, where today we are at the second annual National Night Out, where a local nonprofit, My Care Initiative, has teamed up with the local police to build a relationship within our neighborhoods. It's a great event. Here today I have Kanisha and Christina, who are a part of My Care Initiative, who are going to tell us a little bit about how this came to be and who our partners are and what we're looking forward to through days like this.
Okay. Well, first, thank you very much for having us be able to speak about this. My name, as Kelly has said, is Kanisha Coy. I'm the director of My Care Initiative. CARE is Community Arts Research and Education. We believe in integrating arts into everything that we do. And Christina, did you want to say anything really quick? Go for it.
Hi, my name is Christina Gonzalez. I'm part of New View Community as well. I sit on the board, who is a part of this awesome event and proud member of My Care Initiative. And I'm just happy to be a part of this process, happy to have someone such as Kanisha that has brought National Night Out to our community and to just be a part of it and watch it grow.
We have our library, because people think the library is only about books, but they have so many resources there. Yes. We have the ARC, we have growing places, we have story time that's happening now. We had a K-9 unit that gave a demonstration, and we have the motorcycles. We are wanting to reinforce positive community relations. Yes. Got to say just a really quick thank you to people who donated. So we have Subway on Summer Street, Fitchburg State University, thank you so much for the tables and the chairs, and Zeta's also donated some sandwiches, Walgreens donated water and art supplies, Target has donated bags and other goodies for us, and it's just, we really are believers of being active in our community and accentuating the positive.
And community collaboration, because without one or the other, we cannot make it to this, this be as big as it is. So, like I said, we want to have more join us every year. New View Communities will be the go-to people for next year, so make sure you find out more about National Night Out. Third annual Fitchburg through New View Communities, and I'm sure you could find out more through My Care Initiative, as we will still tell people about what is going on in our communities.
And just really quickly, thank you again to, we have Lunenburg Police that has shown up, and again, we're about being inclusive, so we want to welcome everyone.
So today I'm seeing, what is there got to be, 250 kids running around here. This is a wonderful park down on Elm Street. Basketball is constantly going on at this park. We have a great church, which is a wonderful resource next to this park. So for your two nonprofits to bring together such a wonderful event at a park that really needs to be utilized, and people need to know that they can be out here and they can enjoy themselves and see the kids who they haven't seen in a few weeks from school.
Agreed.
So this is absolutely, as a community member, I appreciate this so very much. I just want to thank you for all your hard work as well. And we are going to continue with more from Lowell Park here on Elm Street with My Care Initiative, New View Communities, and the second annual National Night Out.
Stephanie, community policing is at the baseline of changing a community, making it safer, and engaging neighborhoods in their own crime prevention and addressing crime issues that could occur in neighborhoods. Kelly got a chance to talk to Meredith Garrity and, of course, President of New View Communities, Mark Dohan, and we're going to see that now.
Here we are back at Lowell Park on Elm Street talking with Meredith from New View Communities. Meredith, I've heard a little bit about what is going on today with the second annual National Night Out, but what is this on a larger scale?
Great. Well, National Night Out is something that the National Association of Town Watches. It's a campaign that they've been putting on, and I might be misspeaking, but I feel like they've been putting it on for 30 years. So it's a national night out. It's a national event, and communities all across the country are coming together. And it's really about promoting police-community relations. So we have the police here, we've had the district attorney. It's really about helping to promote safety, building stronger neighborhoods, and building those relationships between people who might typically be a little intimidating, law enforcement, and the community.
So what brought us here today to Lowell Park?
Great. Well, Lowell Park, we're right here, and we are in the North of Main neighborhood, and we wanted to bring this activity particularly to this park so that it would be in the North of Main neighborhood. North of Main is a neighborhood, we believe it's an up-and-coming neighborhood. We think it's an awesome neighborhood, and we really just wanted to make it accessible to the residents who live here in this neighborhood who might not always get things that come to them.
That's really great. I'm so glad to be here. Again, I was talking about it. This park has so much potential, so thank you. Mark, New View Communities, one of the partners along with My Care Initiative and Reimagine North of Main. Tell us a little bit about New View and what we also can look forward to.
Well, we're really excited about doing the event tonight. We've been working in North of Main now for, 5 or 10 years, building housing, working with residents, and we have a lot to look forward to. We're going to be doing some different housing plans, bringing residents together. Coming up, we're going to have our Porch Fest on Main Street, and it's really about we really believe that residents of a neighborhood know the best solutions, know what makes a neighborhood a great neighborhood, what brings people together. So we're working with neighborhood residents. Our board is ordinary people coming together to find solutions and make Fitchburg and North of Main a great place to live and to work and to invest.
Well, thank you so much. Again, New View Communities, a really vital part of Fitchburg and of the surrounding towns. You've recently expanded, so a lot more people are getting what Fitchburg has already seen rolling. So thank you for all that you guys do with your organization. We will be back with more from the second annual National Night Out.
What another great event bringing the community together. Fitchburg State University is also helping to teach police officers the best way to patrol when using a mountain bike. Training took place at the Wallace Civic Center. Even though it was a hot day, officers from around Massachusetts took it all in stride as they learned how to be safe while riding. And you got a chance to check it all out. Let's take a look at that story.
Our City News travels to Fitchburg State University, where, of course, they're no stranger to the Municipal Police Training Committee. This week, putting together some training with the sergeant out of the Medway Police Department, Lisa Moyson, of course. Dr. Lisa Moyson setting that up. Tell us a little bit about what FSU is doing in the off-season.
Well, it's a great time to be utilizing campus. August is quiet here on campus, a little bit quiet before the storm, before all the kids come back. So we collaborated with the Fitchburg State University Police Department to offer a police mountain bike training course here on campus. It'll be a 3-day training course. They'll be utilizing all of campus. And we have police officers coming from all over the Commonwealth, 18 different police officers from as far away as Lawrence. We have folks coming from Hudson, from Northborough. We have people coming from Clark University, people from our own Fitchburg State University Police Department, and basically they're going to be here on campus for 3 days, and they're going to be learning about how to safely patrol on a mountain bike, and it's just a great utilization of campus and a wonderful collaboration, and we're very happy to bring police officers to campus whenever we can for training.
And training, of course, very, very important to police officers. With me, Kevin Matarosian, Officer Kevin Matarosian, and Carla St. Laurent, right here from the Fitchburg State University Police. This is exciting, always training. We're always talking about training when it comes to doing police work right. Kevin, you've got to be very excited about this prospect.
Super excited. I enjoy the community policing aspect of it, and I think patrolling on a bicycle, obviously much different than in a cruiser. can certainly get off and interact and get up close and personal with a lot of the students, and obviously able to maneuver your way through campus a lot easier on a bicycle versus a cruiser.
And nice to get out of the car once in a while. It's a little bit different experience. Carla, what experience have you had with bicycles, and are you looking forward to this experience?
I'm looking forward to it. It's a lot easier to park for sure. And then also, like Kevin said, just going around and interacting with the students is a lot easier to kind of pull up and talk to them. It's a lot more convenient.
More to come with Our City News as we cover this important event right here at Fitchburg State University. We are FATV. So Our City News travels right to Coolidge Park, right here in the city. With me, Sergeant Jeff Watson, Medway Police Department, and a certified MPTC mountain bike police instructor.
I am.
Yes. Really great crowd out here today. A little steamy, and what's happening?
It's warm. Right now, what we got going is braking. Earlier we started with actually how to mount the bike, because a lot of people get out the bike just on the bike. We have to think safety first. So as what we're doing right here, I always keep the bike between you and I. And so we talked about that. We talked about how to dismount the bike for police safety. Some of these people have ridden for a long time, and this is still all new to them. After 3 days, they're going to be able to be proficient on this bicycle. So we're looking forward to it.
So we do know that police training is everything, regardless of the discipline in the police service. And of course, this is a great partnership with Fitchburg State University.
I do a lot of classes, and this has been a wonderful facility to work with. Right down from getting everything set up to the facilities we're using here. When I got here, it's going to have every obstacle that we need to teach them everything. So it's been wonderful so far.
Thank you so much, Sergeant Jeff Watson from Medway Police Department, doing police bike training today. Back to Our City News. And you know, Stephanie, Fitchburg State University, of course, a university that teaches police in their criminal justice program, big partnership with the Municipal Police Training Committee, and this is just another great supplement, bringing it right here to Fitchburg.
It's always incredible. And another great event that happened this weekend was the Comic-Con.
Arissa Page got to the Comic-Con.
Yes, she did. The Batmobile rolled into the Wallace Civic Center this past weekend for the second annual Plastic City Comic-Con. From comic books to Ghostbusters and amazing costumes, the John Fitch Highway venue was full of fans having fun with heroes and checking out what's new for 2017. Our city's Arissa Page was there and talked with some of the fans at the annual event that has now made Fitchburg its home.
Arissa Page, Our City News, here at the Comic-Con at the Wallace Civic Center. There's so many people down here. We're going to find out what is going on and see how they're enjoying it. Hi, I'm here with the wonderful Cody. She's going to talk to us about her experience today at the con.
Well, I love Harley Quinn, so I bought this by Craig Holland. Yeah.
Yeah? So who are your favorite characters?
Harley.
I love Harley.
Yeah. The Joker, Deadpool, just all of them.
So if you could dress up as a character, who would you like to dress up as?
Harley, the old one, like the checkered one, the black and white one. I mean, the black and red one.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you.
We'll be back with more.
You're watching Our City News on FATV.
We're back and we're here with Johnny C. He's going to tell me about making comics.
Hey there, how you doing today? So, my name's Johnny C. I've got several comic books. Today at Plastic City Comic-Con, I have my book, Surrounded by Death. It's best described as a cross between Mallrats and The Walking Dead. In the first story arc, they venture into a very dangerous portion of the mall for a very specific coffee blend that everybody loves, that they're running out of, so the leader can maintain his leadership status. So we're at Plastic City Comic Con hanging out. I also produce the coffee blend here at the table, and I'm also part of Vermont Comic Con. So we're promoting Vermont. It's coming up in a couple of weeks. You can find Surrounded by Death there. I also have a signing coming up at Bedrock Comics for Surrounded by Death. That one's extra special for me because Bedrock Comics was my comic book store growing up. So it's like now that I'm making comics, it's all coming full circle, you know what I mean? So that's really cool.
That's awesome. Could you tell me a little bit about the process of making a comic?
Sure. So, you know, it's much easier now to make comics than it was back in the day, primarily because of the internet. You can find your collaborators really easily online. So typically I meet my people at shows, and then if we click, if we think we're on the same wavelength, we'll pitch the idea, we'll put it together, and then we'll just communicate online. I'll bang out a script, throw it over to the artist will do the pencils, then we'll throw it over to the colorist will go ahead and put their spin on it, they'll finish it off with lettering, and then I get a cover artist. My cover artist is Mark Alvarado from Texas, real great guy, does some fine work, and then at that point the book's ready to go. And that's just the simple process of self-publishing. So it's intensive, but it's gratifying because, you know, you feed that creative need. You know what I mean?
That's awesome. How long have you been doing this?
So I started writing comics in 2012. Before that, I was actually filming music videos, short films, web series. You can actually find music videos I filmed with Eric, who works at the station. And I've worked on Vulgarity, the series, which is a web series with two friends of mine in a band called Vulgarity. And I did a short film called Reggie's Dance, out of a friend of mine out of New York. We worked on that together. Yep. So I stay busy. I always got to have some project or some creative thing going. Otherwise, I feel like idle hands. You know, I gotta have something going. Otherwise, I go crazy.
Have to keep creating. Well,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to talk with you.
Well, thank you for talking with us.
Definitely.
Arissa Page, Our City News. We'll be back.
We'll be right back with more from Our City News on FATV.
Keith Gleason, who runs the Comic-Con event here at this amazing event. Please tell me more.
Well, I'd say just look around. There's like a million things going on here at the show.
There is.
We got comics being sold. We got cosplay people walking around.
I know. I love the costumes.
Oh, isn't it great? Yeah. And we got the Batmobile, which you can kind of see in the background there. I got the TARDIS from Doctor Who. A ton of different things. Stuff Fitchburg probably hasn't seen in a long time, if at all, you know, so.
That's wonderful. So you and your wife do this, correct?
Correct, yep. And this is our second year. We started actually in Leominster, which is why we have the Plastic City name. But we figured Fitchburg, it's the Twin Cities, so we could still kind of get away with it. And plus Plastic City is just kind of a cool name for a convention, you know, so. Yeah, so last year we did so well. We were at the Veterans Center, and we had about 40 tables, and we were just crowded there, so we knew we needed a bigger space, and the only place that had a bigger space really was the Wallace Civic Center, so that's why we came to Fitchburg, and definitely the people came out to support it, so, you know, it's...
Awesome. Well, thank you very much for talking with us today.
Yeah, definitely, and have a good time.
Arissa Page, Our City News.
We'll be right back with more from Our City News on FATV. You're watching Our City News on FATV.
And in Our City News and sports, Alex Bogdasarian, host of Sports Weekly, was able to travel to Patriots training camp, where not only was there some footage of the Patriots actually practicing their training, but the Hall of Fame induction of Ray Claiborne.
That was the plan when Chuck Fairbanks and Bucko Kilroy drafted cornerback Mike Haynes and Raymond Claiborne. In back-to-back drafts in 1976 and 1977. And for the next 6 seasons, the Patriots featured 2 of the best in franchise history and one of the best cornerback tandems ever to play the game.
Bob Kraft, of course, should be and is very proud of those acquisitions and the success of the New England Patriots since their tenure there. Alex Bogdasarian, Sports Weekly host, will have a lot more on the Hall of Fame induction of Raymond Claiborne in his show this week. Coming up, of course, our own Samantha Morton, Our City News, traveled to the Ryan Jubia Skate Park and spoke with Eddie Vargas, who's doing great things with our young people right here in Fitchburg.
It's summertime, it's hot, there's kids out and about everywhere, but who's really keeping track of them and watching them? I'm here with Eddie Vargas, the creator of Keep Kids Off the Street. So, Eddie, how did you start this organization?
My sons and my daughter started coming here 3 years ago. They came to skate camp and they learned how to skate. Eventually they became very good at it, and they made lots of friends right here at the skate park.
So how long have you been doing it?
Well, I've been traveling with kids for just over 2 years. What we do is we go to various skate parks throughout New England, and we do this throughout the entire year, including the winter time.
So how many kids travel with you?
I usually have around between 8 and 10. The group could be a lot larger, but we are in need of a minibus, and we're still waiting for someone to see if someone will sponsor us.
Is it all ages for kids, or?
Mainly, I would say between 8 and 16.
Nice. Do you have rules for them on the road?
I do have rules. The number one rule that I have is safety, wearing helmets. Sometimes they'll still ask me if they have to wear it, and I tell them you don't really have a choice. It's a priority. The other rules that I have, it's no horseplaying, no swearing, and I also talk about staying in school and staying away from drugs.
What's your inspiration for starting this?
When I was home, every week I saw a story on the opioid crisis affecting this region. And I thought that it would be good to start focusing on positive things. So I started documenting through photography the positive side of skateboarding and how this activity is keeping kids off the streets.
So what do you love about this? What's your favorite part?
Okay, my favorite part is just watching the kids getting along, bumping fists, helping each other out. Like when somebody's trying to learn a trick, the next guy would come along, even older folks would come along and just guide them and coach them through, you know. So, and everybody just, you know, it's a community.
So I hear there's going to be a new skate park in Gardner?
Yes, there is. It's going to be finished in about 2 weeks.
How excited are you for that?
I'm very excited, and so are these kids here.
That's great.
Yeah.
So how can people get involved, contact you?
We're on Instagram and Facebook, and the page is Keep Kids Off the Streets. And we also have a website, keepkidsoffthestreets.weebly.com.
So can you tell me a little bit about the fundraiser?
Yes, we're having a fundraiser as we're trying to bring an indoor skate park to this area that I strongly believe will benefit many people, not just skaters, but also bikers, scooters, and inline skaters.
It's great to see organizations like Keep Kids Off the Street, run by Eddie Vargas. It helps keep all the kids safe while still having a great fun time at the skate parks. Everyone looks like they're having a really good time. I'm at the Ryan Jobart Skate Park. I'm Samantha Morton. Back to you.
And welcome back to Our City News, of course, on a very serious note. Stephanie and our viewers, as communities across the nation try to deal with the opioid crisis and addressing addiction, this is what we had next.
Our City News reporter Michael Hartwell sat down with a new initiative right here in the city that's dealing with addiction right here in the Fitchburg area.
I'm Michael Hartwell with Our City News. Today we're talking with two organizers of a pilot project for addiction in our area. I have today Tara Rivera and Susan Buckles of the Facing Addiction Pilot Project of Fitchburg. All right, Susan, you're the co-chair of the Joint Coalition on Health. Why don't you tell us about the pilot project?
Sure. The Joint Coalition on Health, if I could just begin there, has been operating in the North Central region for about 2 decades. And we are a grassroots community coalition. In fact, we have our roots in the Fitchburg Neighborhoods Coalition. So we really began there. And we focus on the social determinants of health. So we take a very broad view of health. We, some of our operations over the years have included doing health assessments for the region, typically 30 communities or more in this region, including Fitchburg, Leominster, Gardner. And the process that we typically use is we, after we do our health assessments and roll them out and share them with the entire community, we ask our coalition members, what would you like to really focus on here? What is the prevailing concern? And in the past, some of the things that came up were oral health. And so we had a project around oral health. And then also one of the things that came up in the past was the need for a community health center. And so one of our prior projects included founding the Community Health Connections, which is located up on the hill, the old Burbank area. So this time around, when we did our health assessment, we asked our members, what should we be focusing on? And it was unanimous, not surprisingly. Everyone said we need to focus on addiction. And so we got together and we researched ways that we could make a difference in this area. And one of the opportunities was to apply for a pilot project with a national organization facing addiction. And so we applied, and we were stunned and thrilled that we were one of 15 that were chosen across the nation.
Right, and my understanding is New Canaan, Connecticut is the only other New England location, and we also have places like Baton Rouge, Chicago,
San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah, I mean, it's really impressive, and it's such an honor, and I really think that, I know for a fact that it really is reflective of the good work that's being done in our region. We we suffer with addiction, and particularly the opiate crisis in this region, just like the rest of the country does. No one is not affected. However, part of the application process was to really demonstrate that we are a community that is willing to have difficult conversations about addiction, because not everyone agrees, and it's a difficult issue to face head on. But we were able to demonstrate that not only are we willing as a community to have this conversation, but we're also willing to take a progressive stance, and we're willing to try new things and innovative approaches. And so our application really highlighted all of the wonderful things that are happening in Fitchburg, and that's really why we were chosen.
All right, so I read the press release from when this was announced in the spring of 2017 for Fitchburg being chosen as a pilot location. And it said that this is not exclusive to opioids, but we're saying that this is the most prevalent form of addiction that we're facing. Is that fair to say?
I think it is fair to say, certainly facing addiction takes a very inclusive view of addiction. Addictions often do not exist isolated one from the other. Frequently, people who have opioid addictions also have tobacco addictions and other types of addictions, and they really strengthen each other and keep each other going, the various addictions. But however, you're absolutely correct. In this region, as in across the country, the opioid addiction has been declared a national crisis, a national epidemic. So by and far, that is the addiction that we are most concerned about. That is the addiction that is killing people every single day. And so by default and by intention, that's where we're putting our focus.
Okay, so how will Fitchburg and the surrounding communities benefit from this pilot project?
So Facing Addiction has made a number of commitments to us and the other communities. First of all, they are a leader with tremendous support nationally. They are a who's who of medicine and expertise in this area. The original launch, which was about 2 years ago, included the Surgeon General. And one of their outcomes, one of their designated outcomes, was that the Surgeon General would release the first ever report on alcohol, drugs, and addiction, which they did last year. And so we are able to gain from their expertise. They are providing guidance in a number of ways. They are supporting us to build a coalition, a larger coalition, a coalition that understands what the issues are and realizes that it really will take a village to address this. And so they're providing technical assistance, and they are also providing training. They'll be coming to the area in October and providing training around awareness and policy and advocacy, and that will be available to all who wish to attend. So those are a couple of initial ways, and they've also committed to working with us to increase resources for this region.
Okay, let me see if I can sum that up fairly. So you're going to help collect information about our area involving addiction. That's going to go with their experts. They're going to suggest different policies and approaches people who work with demographics that experience addiction can then use to help people?
I think that's a facet of it. I think one of the wonderful things about Facing Addiction is they are providing their expertise, but also it is not prescriptive in that they understand that we are the experts on Fitchburg. We are the experts on this region. So although they are providing us with guidance, they do not dictate what the things are, that the approaches that we may take. So for example, Fitchburg may struggle with recovery housing, and that's just an example. But there are many different things that become a challenge for a community around this issue. And so what they are really supporting us to do at this point in time is to raise awareness to reduce stigma around the issue, because we know that stigma just keeps the cycle of addiction going. And to build an army of advocates. I mean, I think that's probably a good way to think about it, is we are really building an army of informed and aware advocates on this issue.
Okay, so is it fair to say that their expertise will suggest ways that we could funnel our limited resources in this area of what would be effective ways to help people?
Absolutely, absolutely. They are providing a tremendous amount of guidance. They have, particularly around policy, because we know that often when we are suffering as a community, it's not individual failures, it's a systemic failure. And so we are really looking at how we can improve systems, because we recognize that no one wants to be addicted. No child says, I want to be an addict when I grow up and sleep in the woods. No parent wants to raise a child who's addicted. So we all have the best intentions, even when we disagree. We know that we're passionate about this. We don't want to see a whole generation die and suffer with this, but we may have different ways of going about it. So in addition to providing the guidance, they're also helping to ensure that we are part of a national voice and a national movement.
Okay, now maybe it's because I've spent the last 6 years working in news in this area, but I feel like the topic of addiction is already on people's lips and has been for years. So when you say that a lot of this is about raising awareness, I wonder, how aware is the public in this area, and how much higher do you want it to go?
So I'll say a little bit about that, and I think Tara may also have something to add. I think that I think that you're absolutely right. There's really no one that you could run into anywhere, in the grocery store, in the bank, that doesn't know that addiction is a huge problem. However, people have different levels of understanding about the root causes and what has been proven to be effective. Some of the things that have been proven to be effective could potentially be controversial, or just not something that people are familiar with. So there's varying levels of understanding around the science of addiction, and how people become addicted, and also how they recover.
I'd have to echo that, and also say that I think that although you may know it's an issue, like we know diabetes and high blood pressure, cholesterol is an issue, but do we know how that person got there? Do we know how we can best treat that? How can we support that? There's a lot of family members who have loved ones who are suffering, and they want to do something, but they don't know what to do. So Facing Addiction will be a program that will allow people to get involved and actually be a voice in the community, a way to rally together and support one another, and then also education, which is huge. So we understand that there's an epidemic, but what really can we do to combat it? And there's people that debate all the time, is it a disease, is it not a disease, it's a choice, all of those types of things. Those difficult conversations can be had, and that education can kind of come out from a project like this, because there's just going to be open dialogue and communication and education, compassion, people who are really committed to making a difference, and who want to educate themselves and understand on how we can actually improve this current epidemic.
Okay, so is there a timeline on the Facing Addiction pilot project in Fitchburg of when we should see things start to roll out here?
So we were chosen in the spring, as you mentioned, and we have they have made a one-year commitment to us, and we have, I think, gone about it in a very deliberate way and rolling it out. What we do expect to do is to offer, as I mentioned, in October, a public training. There'll be more information about that. We are also actively meeting and getting the word out to people who may be looking for a way to get involved and haven't had an opportunity. So that's really part of the reason why we're here. We're going wherever we can to talk to people and say, hey, you know, this is a horrific problem in our community and across the nation, but there are reasons to be hopeful. People do recover. Evidence-based prevention does work. And come and join us and be part of this movement in any way that you feel you want to be.
Okay, is there anything more you want to clear up to the public while you have their attention about this project?
Again, I think I'll answer that, but then I'll certainly refer to Tara. I think that probably the most commonly held misnomer, I don't know if that's the right word, but certainly misunderstanding about addiction is that it's a moral failing. And that it's a choice. The science, you know, decades of science have proven that this is not a moral failing. This is not a choice. And it's not an opinion that people don't make this choice. The science backs the fact that once the brain becomes addicted, it is nearly impossible for an individual to, just through willpower, give up the drug, because their brain and the functions of their brain and body have been hijacked by the drug. And so I usually compare it to asking someone to make the decision and use their willpower to stop breathing. We certainly wouldn't ask anyone to do that. And I use the same analogy with addiction. And I don't mean to say that there isn't some amount of willingness needed on the part of the person who's addicted, but it's not simple, and it's not just making the decision to get sober or to get clean. It's not just about that. It's also extremely difficult, and people need and deserve the support to recover and not suffer with the disease, but also not succumb to overdose.
Yep, that was well said. I think that my 2 cents would be for people that are interested to reach out, because we really need folks on board. So like Susan said, we've been meeting with business owners in the area, people at the local hospital, community health connections, et cetera. We want people from all sectors involved in this. So anybody that's interested in partnering with us, in having their voices be heard and helping us to educate the community, to get resources out to the community, please get in touch with us so that we can continue to expand and really make a difference with this project.
Are you looking for people with any particular background or set of skills?
Honestly, all are welcome and all are valued, and if people have a particular set of skills, it will certainly enrich the conversation. But quite honestly, I think that we are particularly interested in people who maybe haven't had a chance to get involved yet. Maybe don't have a professional background in this, but they've been touched by it, they're concerned, they know that people are suffering, and they just want to come to the table and help and learn and work together.
All right. Now, I know you have a roundtable discussion coming up in the near future. Why don't you tell us when that's going to be and anywhere people can go online if they want to learn more?
So August 16th, we are going to be having a roundtable discussion on discussing Fitchburg Now with Sam Squalia. At the roundtable, we'll have a robust group of people. Susan and myself will be there. Someone representing the Fitchburg Police Department will be there. We'll have a recovery coach there, as well as the executive director of Shine. So it's going to be an amazing conversation. And then in terms of reaching us?
Yes, for now, the best way for people to reach out is to email the Joint Coalition on Health, which the email address is jointcoalitiononhealth@gmail.com, all spelled out. And we are working together to create a Fitchburg Facing Addiction webpage, but we're not quite there. So actually, if there's someone listening who has those skills, that would be a special skill that we would really love to have and benefit from, because we can't do this by ourselves. We can't. We're volunteers. We're doing this because we're passionate about it, and we want to find new ways to connect with people, and we know that social media will be a very important part of that.
All right. Well, Susan Buckles, Tara Rivera, thank you for joining us on Our City News.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wildfires burning across British Columbia, Canada, are causing thousands of people to evacuate their homes. Massachusetts has rounded up 16 state wildland firefighters from across the state to travel up to British Columbia to work with the international community of firefighters.
You know, Stephanie, we have seen wildfires, of course, in the United States moving from west to east, right up to the Midwest, posing very, very special problems for not only the residents that are affected, but environmental issues and exactly how to fight those fires.
And we wanted to thank the brave firefighters from our area that are going. We have a firefighter from Ashburnham, Westminster, and Townsend that are all going up to Canada to fight this fire.
Right here in the greater Fitchburg area, of course, and we're blessed here in New England, and we'll talk more about that.
This week, right here on FATV. Monday at 7 p.m., we have Chess Chat. Wednesday at 7 p.m., it's Discussing Fitchburg Now. Thursday at 9:30 p.m., Andy's Little Sci-Fi Horror Show. Friday at 4 p.m., The Medium Next Door. Saturday at 10 p.m., Saturday Fright Night. And Sunday at 11 a.m., it's Flap TV. This week's free Friday night movie at Nicodemus Field is The Iron Giant. And Concerts on the Common brings you De La High on Thursday, August 9th. Lots of great things happening right here in Fitchburg, and you can always count on Our City News and FATV to bring you the latest. If you have a story you'd like us to share, email us at ourcitynewsfitchburg@gmail.com.
And Stephanie, we'd like to welcome a silver sponsor right here to Fitchburg Access Television, KCMC Management, our local Dunkin' Donuts franchisee, for being so generous with that silver sponsorship. And when I was in the shop a little bit earlier today, I got you this.
Our City News runs off Dunkin's, our local Dunkin's. I'm Stephanie Allison.
And I'm Glenn Fossa.
And have a wonderful day.